Good morning, students. So today we are going to do chapter number 2nd of class 7th. The name of the chapter is The Scholarship Jacket. The Scholarship Jacket is written by Martha Salinas and it was first published in 1986. It tells the story of a young Mexican American girl who faces an injustice at school. It's a popular short story for the students. So let's talk about the small Texas school that I went to had a tradition carried out every year during the 8th grade graduation. A beautiful gold and green jacket, school colors, was awarded to
Martha
class
is nearing the
students.
end of 8th grade at her Texas school. Every year at graduation, the school awards a beautiful jacket monogrammed with an S and winner's name to the class valedictorian, the student with the highest grades over 8 years. So Martha's old sister Rosie won it years earlier. Martha is going to win in this year. She lives with her grandparents as her parents could not afford to raise all their kids. Martha is very thin. She is not happy with her appearance, but she is very smart.
I was 14 and in the 8th grade. So Martha was 14 years old and in the 8th grade, and she had been a straight A student since the first grade, and this was the last year that she is very near to owning that jacket. My father was a farm laborer who could not earn enough money to feed 8 children. So when I was 6, I was given to my grandparents to raise. So when she was 6 years old, Martha was given to her grandparents to raise, as his father was belongs to a farm laborer and he could not earn this much to eat their 8 children. So she was given to her grandparents to raise. We could not participate in sports at school because there was a registration fees, uniform cost, and trips out of towns. So even though our family was quite agile and athletic, there would never be a school sport jacket for us. This one, the scholarship jacket, was our only chance. So due to the circumstances, they could not participate in sports or in any kind of field, as there were registration fees for that. They have to pay for that and they could not afford this much to pay for all this. They need to pay for uniform things and trips, etc. So even after, their family will be able somewhere to provide to give them such kind of things. They will never be so quite active to let them participate. So this was the only jacket that she can get, and this was the only chance that she got something with her hard work. In May, close to graduation, spring fever had struck as usual with Winginins. No one had paid attention in the class. Instead, we stared out the windows and each other's, wanting to speed up the last few weeks of school. So now it's the time of May and spring season is going on, as this is the time when no one paid attention to the class, as everybody was excited to leave the school and to pass these 3 months, last few weeks of the school. I absent-mindedly wandered from my history class to the gym. Then I remembered my PE shorts were still in a bag under my desk where I would forgotten them. So suddenly, absent-mindedly, she was just moving from her history class to gym, and suddenly she remembered that she forgot her PE shorts which she need to wear in her sports class. She forgot under her desk and she was way get back to them alone again. I had to walk all the way back and get them. So she walked all the way back again to get them. Coach Thompson was a real bear if someone was not dressed for PE. I was almost back at my classroom door when I heard voices raised in anger, as if in some sort of argument. I stopped. I didn't mean to ever stop, I just hesitated, not knowing what to do. I needed those shorts and I was going to be late, but I did not want to interrupt an argument between my teachers. I recognized the voices: Mr. Schmidt, my history teacher, and Mr. Boone, my math teacher. They seemed to be arguing about me. I couldn't believe it. I still remember the feeling of shock that rooted me flat against the wall as if I were trying to blend in with the graffiti written here. So while she were way back to the classroom, when she reached there, what she saw suddenly that some loud and very angered sort of voices was coming out from the room. It was a kind of argument that was going on. She stopped outside the room. She didn't mean to create or she didn't mean to listen to the conversation intentionally, but as she reached there, she stopped, and what she came to know, she was just hesitating because she don't know anything what's going on inside. As she came to know, the argument was going on between the two teachers of hers, one Mr. Schmidt and one Mr. Boone. So Mr. Boone is her math teacher and Mr. Schmidt history teacher. So they both were arguing, and what they were arguing about, they were arguing about Martha. As she couldn't believe that what's going on. She still remembers the feeling like she was very shocked at that time.
One day, at the end of the school year, Martha has to go back to her classroom to get her shorts for gym classes she forgot there. Hearing Raid's voices inside, she stops outside the door. Two of her teachers are arguing about her. She's shocked and stands there listening. Mr. Schmidt is saying he refuses to do something, that it doesn't matter who her father is, and that Martha is the clear winner. Mr. Boone says John's father is on the board, owns the only store in the town, and that they could make some excuse. She also hears mention of her Mexican background and a threat to resign. So Mr. Schmidt storms out but doesn't notice Martha. She waits until she calms down and goes into the classroom to get her bag. She can't remember the rest of the day what happened with her. Martha cries quietly that night. The next day she called to the principal's office. He looks uncomfortable. He tells Martha that policy has changed this year. There will be now a charge of $15 for the scholarship jacket, as earlier it was free for the students who was desiring that jacket and who was the deserving candidate. But in this year they have charged $15 for that scholarship jacket. And principal said if she can't pay, the next in line will get the jacket. She says she'll tell her grandfather and get back to him. She cries on the way home. She was very upset and shocked after hearing all such things from the principal. She cried all the way. The dirt road was a quarter mile from the highway. So by the time she got home, her eyes were red. And as she reached home, she was looking for her grandpa. She continuously asking her grandmother about her grandpa. She was swinging on a quilt as usual, and she didn't look up. I think he is out back working in the bean field. So Martha goes into bean field to find her grandpa. She explained the whole situation to him. He asked what the scholarship jacket means. She says it's given to the students who earns it with their hard work and with their grades. They both understand. Before she leaves, he says if it's paid for, it's not a scholarship jacket. She is angry but knows grandpa is right. Martha is sad. The next day when she goes to see the principal, she tells him her grandpa won't pay. He asks why, because he has enough money. She explains the reason. She adds that they'll have to give the jacket to John. The principal stops her before she leaves. He says they'll make an exception and give her the jacket. Martha is happy and thanks him. When she sees Mr. Schmidt later, he acknowledges her accomplishment. She hugs him. Martha cries with happiness on the way home. She rushes to the fields to tell her grandfather that, and she ends up working with him a few minutes first and then gives him the good news. He pats her on the shoulder and wipes the sweat off his forehead. He tells her to see her if her grandmother needs help with supper. Martha smiles at him and she is not fooled. She runs happily at the house. Let me tell you the theme of this chapter, standing up for what's right. Basically, there are three characters who take a principled stand for what is right. Mr. Schmidt, Grandpa, and finally Martha. We first learn of the plot against Martha when she overhears the argument between Mr. Schmidt and Mr. Boone. Mr. Schmidt is adamant in the refusal to cheat Martha out of her prize. He doesn't care who John's father is. He recognizes the injustice of trying to take what Martha earned because she is an easy target, being Mexican and from a poor family. He threatens to resign over it. The next chapter we recognize the greater issue is Grandpa. He points it out to Martha by asking her the significance of the scholarship jacket. It's earned and it's given. The question is not whether he can pay the money or not, but it's whether it should be paid at all. The answer is no. Paying for the scholarship jacket goes against everything it represents. Paying for the jacket wouldn't right the wrong that is being done. At first, Martha does not understand the larger principle at play here. When she tells Grandpa she is in danger of losing her prize, she desperately hoping he would say could have saved money. On the surface, this makes sense. She earned this prize and does not want to see it go to someone else. After all this conversation with Grandpa, she knows he is right. She is still angry and sad, but she understands that paying for something that has been earned does not make sense. So here her dream become fulfilled and true, and she was very happy, and that's the end of the